Beautiful people, what's going on? What's happening? It's horrible here in Wales. The weather's absolutely horrendous. And I think we're going to get the end of, I don't know if it's Hurricane Zeta or I think there might be another name actually, but it's just horrible. There's wind and rain, and so we're just stuck in. I'm inside my cave. And I just want to kind of go over something today that I think is going to be helpful for people, which is how to change your situation, how to change your life, how to live exactly as you want to live, how to achieve the things that you want to achieve. So please stay tuned, and I'll be going over how you do that, what the best way to do it is. At the moment, I'm just having a coffee while I sit here and have a chat with you. A nice hot cup of coffee. It's a bit early really to be drinking beer or any other kind of anything harder. So what are you guys drinking? What are you relaxing with? What's your go-to drink while you're watching videos? So it's been a bit of there's a bit of horrible news this morning broke, which was the terror attacks in France, kind of in retaliation to the Charlie Hebdo cartoons again. It's just horrendous. It's not. I mean, the people affected is. I think one of the victims was 70 years old, so lived a long life, and no, it's just horrible. It's just horrible. So just think about kind of the people that are affected, and yeah, it's got to stop. Like all of these attacks and hatred and things have got to stop one way or another. They've got to stop. So just horrible news this morning. What else have I been doing? The last couple of days, I've been watching the latest Joe Rogan podcast with Alex Jones, and I couldn't recommend it enough. It was brilliant. So go and take a look. It's Alex is a really, if you don't know who Alex Jones is, he's so crazy. He's really seems to be kind of unhinged, and he speaks so fast, and he just seems a bit mad, but he gets most things spot on about the reality of what's going on in the world. So go and have a look at it. I've really enjoyed watching it for the first time. I've kind of watched through a whole podcast of Joe Rogan. So highly recommend that. So yeah, so like I'll get stuck into what I'm going to talk about, and it's just too many people these days are, due to their past and due to the things that have happened to them, are fearful of just taking the plunge in whatever it is that they want to do, just doing it. In case this happens, it's the fear of what if it doesn't work? What if this happens that happened to me in the past again? So what if though? I mean, you ask yourself, what if? What if it doesn't work? So what? But at least you've tried. But what if it does work? There's no what if it does work if you never try. And so everybody's got demons and things that have happened to them in the past, but you can't allow that to dictate what happens to you moving forward. It's just not, it doesn't, the past is gone. The past doesn't exist anymore. Yes, we learn from experiences that we have in the past, but it doesn't need to define what you do now in the present. So you may have made mistakes in the past. Things may have happened to you. You may have experienced something traumatic in the past, but that doesn't mean that that's got to define you moving forward. That's not gonna come back and get you when you try and achieve things now. So it just doesn't, and it's the same. I mean, it's the same thing for good things. So it's not just bad. So it's good. So don't rely on the things that you've achieved in the past again to dictate where you are now. Like rest on your laurels. Oh, I won this trophy. I achieved this 5-10 years ago, so I can just relax now. That's not life. That's not life. When you wake up in the morning, it's a fresh day. It's a fresh start. When I finish this cup of coffee, life is not the same as when I started drinking the coffee. When I put it to my mouth, that taste of coffee no longer exists. It's only the now. I can't get that taste of coffee back. I can't do it. If it burnt my mouth, okay, I understand that hot coffee can burn my mouth, but not all hot coffee has to burn your mouth. It just makes you more cautious, but it doesn't mean I'm not going to drink coffee again. So just you've just got to get out there. You've just got to get out there and do whatever you want to do. If you don't, you'll miss out on a life, on an incredible life, full of wonder, full of things that excitement and full of experiences that you wouldn't normally have. And so you've got to just go out and you've just got to grasp the now. So it's all about living in the now, not living in the past, not even thinking too much about the future, just living in the now. And that's what's important. I mean, I wouldn't have lived so many amazing experiences in my life if I hadn't, if I'd only lived in the past, or I'd worried about what other people thought, or I mean, probably my biggest, my most amazing experience was traveling and living in Colombia. And if I would have listened to people at that time about Colombia, about that it's dangerous, about all of these other things, or I would have even listened to my own kind of my own experiences of seeing Colombia on the news and other people, external sources kind of forming my opinion, then I would never have gone. But because I tend to always live in the present, it was like, it doesn't matter to me. I'm going and I'm going to... And some of the things that I experienced, I mean, experienced carnivals and experienced just amazing landscapes and beautiful people, and now I'm married to a Colombian and I've got a child, and like I wouldn't have experienced any of that. I wouldn't have walked through rainforests and jungles. I wouldn't have climbed mountains. I wouldn't have done all these things. I wouldn't have swam in the Caribbean. You see? I mean, you see how it works? Like it was the most amazing experience for me. But it was only because I lived in the moment and I said, okay, cool. Okay, like I'm buying a ticket, I'm buying a plane ticket, and I'm going to go and see Colombia. It's just, and it's the same for you. It's the same for anything that you do or don't want to do. If you're unhappy, change it. I mean, admittedly it was when I was young, but I've quit jobs at the drop of a hat. I've just in that moment, because I'm living in the moment, I've thought to myself, am I happy? No. And in this moment, I'm living in the moment. Is this what I want? Is this, and if the answer is no, then at that moment, you've got to make a decision. Like, okay, it might involve that you've got to think more carefully. I mean, we're getting older now. I'm certainly getting on a bit, so I couldn't make that same decision now. But so the decision would have to be more protracted. And I'd have to say, okay, so maybe I'm going to give myself a period of time before I leave the job. I've got to find another job or whatever else. But it's a case of saying, are you happy? And if you're not happy, you've got to change. You've got to change it. You've got to change your situation. And don't, again, your fears formed in your past because of all your experience are stopping you from living a happy life. A lot of the times, taking that plunge is super important to changing your life. It's jumping off that cliff. It's closing your eyes and it's just jumping, not knowing what's going to happen after you've hit the water, but saying I'm going to deal with whatever comes after I've hit the water. But the important thing psychologically is taking that step across the border of your own mind. Okay, I'm doing it and I'm going to jump. And that's what it's about, because no matter what situation you're in, you will always be able to surpass that situation, kind of get out of the situation and make a life that's better for you. So I mean, you've got different options in that you might be unhappy now. Well, you're already unhappy, aren't you? You're already unhappy, so why not be unhappy, but in a position to make yourself happy rather than just accepting your unhappiness? And that's what it's about, really. It's it's about not regretting not doing. That's what it's about. It's about not regretting that you didn't take the plunge, you didn't go for it, you didn't try something new. That's what it's about. And so it's about letting go of those fears, letting go of those mistakes in the past, those fears. I mean, how many of you have done a skydive or a bungee jump or any of those things? That's an interesting experience. I've not done a skydive. I've done a bungee jump. And it's an interesting experience because it's completely kind of unnatural, anti-natural almost, that psychologically your senses are taking in what's around you and telling you that this is dangerous, you shouldn't be doing this. And so you've got to override that fear and that whatever's telling you not to do it. Don't jump. And you've got to override it. You've got to say, okay, I'm in control here. And whatever happens, happens. But I want to see what's on the other side of that jump. I want to see what that feeling is. Because if I don't, I'm going to regret never knowing. And so you take the jump. And that's it. You jump. And the excitement and the feeling, and that feeling of weightlessness, and then the bounce, and then you just, and that it's something you won't get from any other source. So it's taking risks, but just knowing that you're going to take the risk and you'll deal with whatever happens then, and that's the freedom. You feel free then, and I think that kind of outlook on life that I have about living in the present, that came from, and I can pinpoint some experiences in my life. That when I was really young, I was probably I think I was in primary school. I remember, and it's the only time it ever happened, is one day, and it must have been at the start when I'd first gone to primary school. I remember being kind of picked on, just one instance, kind of being picked on or bullied or whatever you want to call it. And I remember two kind of big kids, like, I don't know, picking on me or whatever else they were doing. I don't remember what they were saying because it was a long time ago. This is just one example. And I remember, even at that young age, I remember on that day feeling horrible, and I remember thinking, I'll never have that again. I'll never let that happen again. So from that moment, if that was to happen again, I would deal with that situation, even that young. So whatever it took, I would deal with that situation and the consequences. So if it meant that I had to physically fight my corner and then at least, no matter what the consequences after it, at least psychologically, I've taken action and I've not just accepted my my victimhood, my just the situation I'm in. And from that moment forward, nobody ever kind of picked on me ever again, and nobody ever really tried. And again, it becomes kind of I guess it's a psychological thing that you give off that aura. You give off that, well, nobody wants to pick on you because they know that you're strong-minded, you're strong-willed. And then another experience was I went to, I think it was something like the Cub Scouts, whatever. I went to some camp, like a jamboree, or I think it was the Cubs. And I remember that I was kind of a little bit chubby at that time. I wasn't very, very fit. But anyway, so I went to this Cubs thing, and there was a climbing wall, and I was one of the last people to go on the climbing wall. There was nobody else there. Everybody else had done their climbing and everything. I didn't really fancy it, and I was a bit kind of scared. And so anyway, it came to me. Everybody else had kind of gone back to camp or whatever it was, and the instructors were waiting for me. And they said, okay, so it's your turn to go up the climbing wall. Go on. So I started climbing up the climbing wall, and I didn't get very far, and I was scared, and I thought, I don't like this, and I was really scared. I didn't want to do it. I was scared. So I can't do this. No, I can't do it. So anyway, so I climbed down. Probably gone up like 2 or 3 of the climbing pegs. So I climbed down, and I remember, so the instructor said to me, okay, so no problem, you don't need to climb. You can abseil? So you can go inside the climbing wall. It was like a frame. You can go inside and we'll abseil you down, and then at least you've had the experience then. So I said, okay, yeah, no, that sounds good. So I climbed up the ladder inside, and you go up to the top. And as I got to the top, I looked out, and it was really high, and I said, I can't do it. I can't do it. And so they said, all right, no problem. Okay, well, we're done then. Okay, so we're going to pack up. And so I climbed back down the ladder through the inside, and when I got down, they said, okay, if you head back to camp now, like, you can go back. And the feeling of disappointment on that day, that feeling of regret, of like regretting not pushing myself past my limit to climb or to go down the abseil. At that moment, again, I actually cried, and like, I never cried. I very, 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 very rarely cried when I was younger. But on that day, I cried walking back to the camp. I just cried because it was a feeling of like disappointment, of failure, but not a failure because I'd tried and failed, but failure because I'd beaten myself. I'd kind of, in my mind, I'd just given up, and that feeling was horrible. And again, like in that moment, I said to myself, I'm never going to do this again. So if anything comes up in the future where I'm testing myself, go and test yourself. Don't ever regret. And I was young thinking that. Don't you ever regret again. Never ever regret what you've done or what you haven't done. Don't ever let yourself be in that situation again, because it's you against you. It's not you against anybody else. And since then, I've never ever ever regretted life in general. Because I know that even if I do something and it doesn't work out, then I know that I'm strong enough to go again, to fight again, and to make something of myself again. It's a really liberating feeling. So that's what I'm trying to promote to you is you've got to live a life of no regrets. You've got to live a life where you don't leave anything undone that you're going to think you wish you would have done, and you'll be disappointed. We only get this one life to live. And so if you're sitting at home at the moment and you're thinking you regret this or you regret not doing that, or you don't know if you can do this, or you're scared to do this, like, stop thinking, stop overthinking it, stop thinking about it in those terms. Think about it in the terms of, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to live now. Right, I'm going to go out. I want to go and run. I'm going to go and run now. It's raining outside. Terrible, horrible storm. I'm going to go and run. But what about this? But what about that? But what about the weather? But what about... So who cares? Just go and do it. Stop stop putting things in your own way. So what are some of the things that... like the things from your past? Have you got any things from your past that haunt you? Regrets that, like the ones I've just explained? Because I think they're really cool stories, and I think people enjoy reading them. But I'd love it if you'd let us know. Post kind of your regrets and put it in the comments, and let people know what you regret not doing. And that it might, therapeutically, it may help you to move forward. So yeah, let me know. So the point is that you have to grasp the moment. It's about living in the now, because it's all there is. The now is all there is. There's no time machine. You're not going back. You're not going forward, really. It's only now. Like, you can think about the future, because it's nice to think about the future, but you can't move immediately to the future. All you can do is now. So, for example, if you want to be a multimillionaire and own super mansions and own islands and cars and whatever else, you might have that possibility in the future, and you'll be able to dream about that in the future. But there's no way of traveling to that moment. The only way that you can achieve that without it being just a pipe dream is by starting now and putting one foot in front of the other, saying, okay, like, what's my first step? And that's why living in the now is so important. And it's so powerful. To live for today, to live for now is so powerful. And the reason why it is because reputations no longer matter. Past experiences no longer matter if you live in the now. Because what was yesterday doesn't need to be now. If you had a hard life yesterday, that it doesn't need to be like that today. It's there's nothing yesterday that is going to impact you now. Impact your thoughts and your actions now. A good example is like, for example, in about reputations not kind of mattering today, is when you look at things like fighting sports, like I'm just giving an example, MMA and boxing and things like that. Very often, when the champion loses, it's because they've stopped living in the now and started to live on their past reputations and their past wins and their everything else. It's when they start to believe the hype that what happened yesterday, what happened in their last fight, what happened is what's good now. That's the problem. And so that's when the champions lose. Like a good example for me is like, say somebody like Conor McGregor. I think he's brilliant. I think he's one of the best fighters out there probably ever. And I also think that psychologically he was a now man. He was a live in the now man, and that's what made him so dangerous, was he would live in the now. And he would, every fight he would come and he would prepare really hard for the fight because he knew it was a new fight. So on that day, he needed to be the best he possibly could. And the problem was he got so big, so famous, and people telling him how good he was. And then he fights the best pound-for-pound boxer ever in Floyd Mayweather, and gives him a bloody good fight. Like, considering that they're from different worlds, that got to his head. And so then when he goes into a fight against Khabib, then that's an issue because Khabib's an animal. So that's where he lost his way. Was all of the hype and the fame and the reputation. He thought that would carry him through fights. He thought that other fighters would be intimidated by his reputation, and they don't. Like the real fighters don't, and the people who live in the now don't. And it's the same with business. In business, you have rotations of companies, and the ones that don't innovate and don't change what they're doing live on their past victories and their past operational kind of norms. Those are the ones who go out of business, because you get the challengers who are living in the now and saying, okay, we're going to do this today, we're going to innovate today, we're going to do they're the ones that go past, and that's kind of the life cycle. I guess that's what it is, the life cycle. But you can go against that life cycle by saying, I'm going to live now, constantly live now, live now, live now. And another example is there's no other better example than in the animal kingdom, is that you always get, in a lot of species, group species, you'll get a dominant male or female, and they'll be dominant for a long time, but eventually it becomes about what they did in the past and the defenses they made of their territory in the past and all of this thing, and then you'll get a younger version come through who's hungry and wants to do it. So it's about living now. As soon as you're sleeping, somebody else comes and takes your opportunities. So you've got to stop. You've got to leave that behind now. It's definitely you can't. So that's kind of your good past. You can't rely on your good past. You can't rely on your bad past to dictate to you what happens in the future. So what is it that you want? Like what would be your ideal life? What do you want to achieve? You've got to think about it, because if you don't, until you've defined that, you're not going to be able to know how to do it. I mean, it could be anything. Is it getting a job that you want? Is it? Do you want to change your lifestyle, a healthy lifestyle, an unhealthy lifestyle? Is there a traumatic event that's holding you back from doing some of these things? Do you feel that you've got anxiety or depression? Do you want to change your love life or your finances, or like what is it? Like what is it that you feel that you can't achieve or you're struggling to achieve? And then you start to say, okay, so from today, I'm going to do everything that I need to do to achieve that. And just remember, no regrets. Because if you don't go for it, you're going to regret it. And also remember that nothing that happened in the past can influence what you're doing now. So you've got to get out and you've got to make that decision to make a change right now. So if you want the perfect job, the job that you want, or to start your own business, like think about what you want and think, okay, so what am I going to do today to go after it and to not leave anything out there, to leave it to leave it all out there, to leave all that effort out on the field. Like, how are you going to do that? Like, are you putting out, if you want a certain job within a certain industry, are you putting out enough CVs? Are you talking to enough people on LinkedIn? Are you spreading your message? Are you telling people how good you are? Are you knocking on the doors? Trust me that anything is achievable. Anything is achievable. Literally anything. You can speak to whoever you want to speak to. If you knock on the right doors and if you follow the right path, you can speak to whoever you want to. Any public figure, any celebrity, any famous person, any CEO, any whatever it is, you can do it. It's easy, but it's just that people have got that fear of what if it doesn't work, or when it doesn't work, then it's like, oh, I can't do. No, it's not working. No, it's because you haven't tried and you haven't put in the effort to give it a go. So your job, I can guarantee you that you'll get the job that you want. You can, whatever job it is that you want, you can get it. And now, obviously, that's within kind of your skill set. You can't. I can't say, for example, I'd love to be. I always have kind of my dream job growing up would have been to be a footballer. And so I can't do that now, obviously, because I'm a croc. I've got a bad back and a bad knee and everything else. So it's got to be within your skill set. But if you've got those skills, or it might be a case of you've got to work through a plan of where do I go. Okay, so first I need to go and get experience in this area. First I need to learn this, taking a course, and then you build up and you move forward to where you want to get to. But don't defeat yourself already and say, like I was at the top of the abseiling wall, I can't do this. Like I'm not good enough. I'm not. It's just go in and just try and just do it. That's all it is. And a lot of that, I believe that a lot of this kind of, I can't do this. I can't start my own business. I want to start my own business, but I can't. Or I want to lose weight, but I can't. Or I want to leave my job, but I can't. Or whatever it is. A lot of it is the root cause of a lot of the mental health issues that people have today, the depression, the anxiety. It's the acceptance of mediocrity that people realise, whether consciously or subconsciously, that they're failing themselves, that they're giving up, that they're not fighting. And it weighs heavily on your spirit. For whatever reason, it might be because of something that happened to you in the past, or it might just be that you're just feeling quite weak and you can't push yourself to do it. But those are a root cause of a lot of these mental health problems. Is that feeling of I'm not good enough because I'm not doing what I want to be doing. So therefore, I become nervous with anxiety. Instead of kind of getting angry. Okay, I'm gonna go and do this. I'm gonna get out there. I'm gonna change this because I'm worth more. I'm worth a lot more than what I'm giving myself here. That's how people feel. Is they don't utilize their human fight to get out. And depression, similar, but with, for example, with it might be that you're just unhappy in something that you can't get out of. Debt, a bad job, a bad relationship, and that's what weighs down. You don't have enough money, and that weighs down. But when you make that decision to fight for what you want and to take the plunge and everything else, that's when it works for you, and that's when you liberate your mind. You start to feel better. You start to, okay, so at least I'm fighting. Like I'm going down. Even if you're going down with your boat's going down, but you're going to not stop bailing it out. You're going to keep fighting because eventually you'll find a piece of land. That's what it's all about. It's just about not giving up, and it's the giving up that creates these mental health issues, that when finally it's too much and you give up. So the answer is it's never too much. You can take it all. You've got big shoulders. You're strong. You can do it. No regrets. This is what you got to do. Like, there's people in this world who are in horrendous situations, but still continue to fight. And that's where you need to be. Is you need to realise that you've got your whole life. Like, it's never too late to achieve what you want to achieve, or to get out of something bad that you're in that you don't want to be in. So, like, you might be an addict. You might be, I don't know, drug addict, sex addict, computer games addict, alcoholic. Any of these things you can overcome, but you've got to back yourself. You've got to say, okay, I know I can do this. Like, do you know what? Like, it's been bad in the past, but I can do it. I can fight this, and I can do it. Oh, this is me. This is I can beat this, and I'm not going to give in. I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to have any regrets in the future that I was never able to kick this habit or this addiction. Like, you've just got to fight it. It's just a fight, and I promise you that once you start to beat these demons, and to realise that actually it's living in the now. So it's like, kind of sobriety is a case of, okay, today I need to break free of this. Today, I'm sober. That's it. And it's about living in the now again. So then kind of when you come to the next kind of moment where you're craving for whatever it is that you're addicted to, then you say, again, in the moment, I'm living in the moment. No. I'm better than this. I'm stronger than this. Yeah. You might in your love life, it might be something that you want to change. You might want to meet the perfect person. You might want to meet your partner. You might be single and you might be struggling to meet people. So get out there and do it. Don't complain about not being able to find people. Get out there. Like, go on dates. You meet somebody you like, go and say hello to them. Say that I really like the way you look. You're very handsome, very pretty, whatever. I'd love to have a drink with you. I'd love to. And if they say no, then so what? It's fine. Just you let it go. You move on to the next one. It's not. This is the living in the now. Like, it's something that we're an incredible species that we can rationalize the now, and so you can teach yourself this. You can tell yourself that the now is so important, and that thing, if it doesn't go your way, it doesn't matter. You can go again, because the now is a new now. That was in the past, and it's a new now. And equally to do with kind of love life, relationships, that sort of thing. If you're in a bad relationship, I understand about feelings, and I understand about situations where, say, children are involved or whatever else. But again, you can get stuck into the past of, oh, well, they were a good person, or I was happy, or whatever. But there's only so many chances that you can give, and you've got to move forward, and you've got to say, okay, I've got to live in the now. What's my situation now? So if you're not happy, you need to deal with it. And if that's the case of, okay, you may still love somebody, and you want to give them a chance. Maybe it's a case of you say, okay, in the now, I'm gonna lay this out on the line, and I'm gonna say, this is what I want now. If I don't get this, then this is how I'm going to change it. And giving out ultimatums, ultimatums are a very now kind of a very definite course of action, so long as you stick with them. But change your situation. Change it now. You don't need to. Don't regret not changing it, because it affects who you think you are. It makes you not love yourself anymore, because you think that you're too weak to change your situation, and you're not. Like, you know, a lot of the times people will ask for advice and say, oh, how do I do this? How do I do that? But 9 times out of 10, people know how to change their life, but they don't want to accept that they're strong enough to do it, or they don't want to take the plunge, or whatever. So you've got to do it. And I know that another kind of really difficult thing that people really struggle with, and this is kind of it's kind of a something that's been created as a system, which makes people struggle, and it keeps them in a state of the past, which is debt and finances. Our monetary system keeps us tied to the past, especially if you've got debt, because you can't break free of that. That's still there from the past. So, but you've got to kind of, what you can do is you can with finances and debt. If you've got debt, is you've got to figure out a way to sort it out. Like, don't let yourself live in the past and let yourself be dragged down by the past. You need to make a plan and say, okay, how am I going to get out of it? Whatever that is, it might be bankruptcy. You might be in a lot of debt and say, okay, that's it. I need to cut my losses and that's it. But then you can move forward because you're in the now and you've got rid of that debt. It might be that you need to put a plan in place and follow that plan through, but be more proactive. Of, okay, I'm with the debt. I'm gonna deal with the debt, and I'm gonna pay it back over 10 years or whatever it is. But I need to, from this day forward, I'm gonna deal with it instead of each time kind of letting myself slip and not paying everything that I'm saying that I'm gonna pay, and I'm gonna stick to it. So again, it's something that you need to commit to. And when we look at everybody wants to have more money. You can have more money. If you make a plan, you can have more money. You've just got to believe in yourself. And it's in general. So talking about no regrets and living in the now, it's about standing up for what you believe in. It's about kind of not letting anybody else influence how you feel about what you're going to achieve. So it's blocking out all of that noise. It's being very, very single-minded. You've got to take action. You've got to do it, and you've got to stop talking about it. So if you talk about it, if you do it, then stop. So I mean, there's a lot of a lot of people will try and talk you out of going for what you want. And so really, there's only you that lives inside your head. So there's only you that can control where you go with this, where you take this. It's like from The Matrix, when at the end, I think it is, when Neo says, I can't tell you how this is going to end. Oh, I can't remember what it was, but but anyway, it basically says like you decide, like how this ends. You decide, and it is like that's the situation for you. Is how this ends. Is you decide how your life is going to end. When I say end, I don't mean like the end of your life. I mean between now and the end of your life, you're going to decide how you're going to live those next years. And don't let anybody take that away from you. Never let anybody take that away from you. You've got to just decide that this is how you're going to live now. You're going to live alcohol free. You're going to live going for that money. You're going to go and find your partner. You're going to do whatever it takes to get your dream job or to start your business. Or, okay, from now on, I'm going to work 12 hours a day and I'm going to make my business happen. It's got to be more than a dream. You've got to stop dreaming and start doing. You can't ever regret not doing it. I'm telling you, it's so important. I mean, it's life. In your life, when you get to 70 years old, you're going to struggle and you're going to regret that you didn't try. So you've got to kind of now say to yourself, from this day forward, my future is mine. So the past may have been due to things that had happened to you, or you thinking about the past, procrastinating. What you've got to say, okay, from today, The future is mine. That was yours. That was yours past, or that was yours everybody else. That was yours family. That was yours friends. You influenced me on those things. But tomorrow is mine. That's what you need to start to tell yourself. And you need to start to make it happen. If they don't like it, if people around you don't like it, then screw them. Like, you don't... Honestly, it doesn't matter whether you're friends or family. You've just got to let them go, and you've just got to say, okay, this is... At the end of the day, this is my life. Like, I love you. If you love me, then you'll just respect what I'm doing. And that's it. But this is what I'm doing. So let me know, like, what are you going to commit to changing now? What would you like to change in your life, or what are you going to change? It'd be cool to hear some of you who are going to commit now from today. And you know what? You'll fail. That's normal. You will fail. And failure is part of success. As night is part of day, failure is part of success. You can't have one without the other. You can't have success without falling down. I mean, if you fall down or fall short or you fail, so what? Like, get back up, dust yourself down, and go again from now, because that's gone. You've got to learn to live with a bit of failure and to be able to, and rejection. As I say, going and meeting somebody when you're out and about, and somebody you like, and you want to tell them that you like them, and you want to maybe go out for a drink and see if you can form a better a closer connection. Like, you'll get failures, you'll get rejections, and so you need to learn to live with those rejections, because you're not going to achieve anything without failure. That's how we learn. Like, even in the very kind of very basic terms, when we're a baby, when babies begin to walk, the way that they learn is by falling down. So literally, our whole makeup is about falling down and getting back up again. That's how we learn. A baby will fall down, and then it'll say, okay, well, now I'll recognise that if I move in a certain way, then I'll stop myself from falling that way. And then, so the next time they don't fall when they move their leg that way. Okay, that's fine. So now, but I fall when this happens, and I overbalance, and I was too confident or whatever else, so I need to be less confident. And then when they're less confident in that step, then they're better. And then it's exactly the same with doing what you want in your life. Exactly the same. It's like going to a gym and exercising. So you can't go to 100 straight away in the gym. You have to build up. You have to build up to hitting that kind of personal best, or that weight that you want to lift, or whatever else. And you train your muscles via repetition. And it's exactly the same with achieving success. It's about achieving it through achieving what you want through repetition, just repeating actions to failure, and then starting again. Okay, repeating actions. So it's, as a kind of a real world example, is going for job interviews. You get better. The more job interviews you go for, the better you get. The more confident you get, the better your answers. And so eventually you're going in with a perfect interview. A perfect interview, or perfect interview technique. And that's what you want. That's how life is. That's how life is. It doesn't matter whether it's in your love life, your financial history and financial life, or whatever else. It's about repetition. And I think I heard Dr. Phil once say, which was interesting, that the biggest predictor of your future is the past, right? So if you're in the now, and for example, talking about addicts, your past month is a good predictor of your next month. So if you were an addict for the last month, the prediction is that you will still be an addict within the month. But as time goes by, and as you're living in the now, and you're taking up 1 month, so when you've now become a month, now you've done a month of being sober, then that last month of being sober predicts that the next month will be sober. Yeah. So then when you look back at your last 2 months, it's a good prediction that your next 2 months you're going to be sober. That's 4 months. So the point is that it's just time. It takes time, and it takes repetition. And the more repetitions you do, the better you get at living that life that you want. So that's it. No regrets. Fight for what you want. Change your life now. If you want to change today, you can do it today. And kind of, I wish you all the best. If there's anything specific that you'd like me to, if you want to change something in your life, I'm more than happy for people to contact me. So, and I'll give you my advice. I'll let you know what I think, and how I think that you can change what you want to do. You don't need to overthink things. You just need to go for it. But if you'd like to know how to start, or how to kind of go and or you feel stuck or anything else, then please get in touch. It'd be cool to hear from you. I'd be really, really happy to hear from you. And that's it for this Drinks with Chris. As always, my coffee's now cold. For more Drinks with Chris, please subscribe. Click the little bell notification next to it, and you'll be notified when I upload a new video. Connect with me over on Periscope, because I'm going to start doing some live streams on Periscope where people can interact in real time. So that's Chris Russell Hosp on Periscope. And like anything that anybody wants to discuss with me, please let me know. Any future videos you'd like me to do, drop me a message and we'll talk. So next time, grab yourself a drink, come and sit down, and let's talk on Drinks with Chris again next time. Thank you for listening. Cheers.